Okay, this is, I guess, the second installment of the Red Dragon. And yes, that is where the seat's going to go, right on top of the motor. He'll have a nice clear view of where he's going. This time, talk about the chassis a little bit and show you what has been done so far. In the early stages, I'll say the below floor bracing and support work was put in place. That gave the positions of where the cage would go in. As you can see right there, there's been a cross member put in to support the back of the transmission. And also there has been a mid plate put in. I'll talk about them in a later episode. So once the tubing got put in place, then started looking at how the cage and the supports for the forelink would go in. The position of these links and all are custom to this car. This is not like a kit, so every car that comes in here is built different. The back here that you see, that is all actually support work for the coilover shocks. And then on back further, you can see in there the fuel cell for the car. This is all chrome moly tubing, and because of that, it has to be TIG welded. TIG welding, even though TIG welding is a required system, you cannot just continually weld. You have to do a certain amount of welding, and then you have to move to another spot to allow that to cool. If you continuously weld, the chances are you're going to cause the tubing to get brittle because it gets too hot. There's one other way of welding it, which is, believe it or not, torch welding, but then you have to stress relieve it afterwards. So then, because of the below floor tubing being put in place, only tacked though at the time it was started, then other braces like you see here get put in place. There's a crossbar that's required for cars of this speed and weight. I'm trying to remember, under dash, but there's a specific name for it. You can see gussets that are put in. And this cage even follows the contours of the car, which that's one of the nice things about a custom cage. Looks much neater, much more professional. This car, I'll add, is going to have what's called a funny car cage, which these two uprights here are part of the beginnings of that cage. It'll actually come up over top of the driver, and there'll be other bars put in here, which I'll take and show you in a later video. There my light changed. I wonder if that's because of me. This car is being set up for a specific speed and weight. So that's how NHRA establishes the requirements for the cage. They set up, like, I can't remember the exact details, but I believe this car is being set up for a speed, quarter mile time of 7.5, and it's not allowed to weigh more than 3,600 pounds. Now, you might think, what's the 3,600 pounds have to do with it? The heavier the car, the more brace work that has to be put in it. So, because the weight could crush the cage in a rollover, well, even in a side impact, which they do have happen. So, they change the requirements. The thickness of the tube, the diameter of the tube increases as the weight goes up, but also as the speed goes up, because inertia, of course, is one of the other factors that causes the cage to need more bracing. Faster you go, the harder you hit the wall. So, that's where we're at this point. I hope this gives you a little bit of insight as to what it takes, to build one of these cars. And I'll see you on the next adventure. Remember, this is from I'm Not Childish. I'm at a higher level of immaturity.